everyone, my name is Christy and welcome to my favorite video to make of the year, where I talk about all the books that I had trouble putting down throughout the year and books that were just like my overall favorites, like gave me a warm, happy, fuzzy, memorable feeling. So without further ado, here we go. Ties of Starlight by Celeste Baxendale. This book is so captivating. It's a fantasy set in the world of elves, and what we have is this girl that is set to be married to this man, and it's part of this like ritual thing they do with like a comet, like a magical thing they do, where if a couple that's very similar to like this original couple several hundred years ago gets married and like does all the same things that this other couple did, like surrounding the time of this comet, something magical will happen and it will protect the elves for like 200 years or something like that. So anyway, like the night before she's supposed to get married, the guy bolts, and this other man, they're like, well, there's got to be a marriage, otherwise like we're gonna be unprotected, the magic's not gonna work, it's gonna be terrible for us, we're gonna all die. So someone else has to step in, and it ends up being this elf that is like secretly in love with her, but she hates him so much. So it's like a marriage of convenience, enemies to lovers. There is like all this mystery going on behind it, like all these crazy things happening with her that you have to figure out along the way. There's just a lot of character depth, a lot of emotion, all just the right amount, and I couldn't put it down. It was amazing. Next on my unputdownable list is the Lunar Chronicles. I read Cinder a full year ago, and then this year I was just like, you know what, I think I'm gonna read Scarlet now. I ended up binging the whole series. I felt like each book was just building on itself because it's pulling in like all the characters as we go. Like each book in that series is a different fairy tale retelling, and at the same time we're still getting the storylines from the past characters. It was just really phenomenally done. I loved how it's like, it was very simple in a lot of ways, but so compelling, and at the same time like really complex. It's just a really great series. It's a sci-fi fairy tale retelling series, so it's like way into the future. So that makes it really, really interesting, but it's literally a Cinderella retelling, a Red Riding Hood retelling, Rapunzel, and then Snow White. And every single book, I just flew through it, including the last one, which I believe is like 800 something pages, I think my Kindle said. And I just breezed through it. It was so, so good. The One with the Kiss Cam by Cindy Steele. Okay, for a rom-com to be on my unputdownables list is quite extraordinary, because usually rom-coms are really loved. I love them so much. They're often candy reads for me, where it's like you're reading it feels like you're eating candy. It's just like a great feeling the whole way through. But unputdownable is usually not what I would describe a rom-com. Like I just feel like, oh, I can put this down and I'll pick it up later. It's not a big deal. But not with this one. I was reading another book that was quite interesting at the time, and it wasn't that I wasn't enjoying it, but what I do is I often read a physical book and a book on my Kindle at the same time, and I was not expecting the book on my Kindle. I read this one on my Kindle. I was not expecting this book to overtake the other one. I couldn't put it down. I was like, I have to know. I've got to keep going. Forget the other book right now. I'm reading the One with the Kiss Cam on my Kindle right now. And wow, I mean, what's so great about it is that the romantic energy is just so high throughout. There is so much depth to the characters, and it's about this girl that she meets this guy on a blind date, and there's a kiss cam, and kind of just like for fun, they're like, well, why don't we kiss? Her blind date, by the way, is awful, and he's like off getting chips. So they just kiss, and like the other guy never even finds out. Well, they end up just hanging out and spending a lot of time together, but then like at the end of the night, they just like happily part ways, like, well, that was fun, you know, whatever. They end up meeting again a couple years later because I believe she starts working as like a janitor or something, like she's like cleaning the office building that he works in. So it's just, it's so good. If you like rom-coms at all, please put this one at the top of your list because it's just amazing. Every Hour Until Then by Gabriel Meyer. This is part of the Timeless series, and this is my favorite book of the series by far. The time periods were, I think, 1930s and like the 1880s, so there was only a 50-year difference. So it was one of the smallest differences in the time periods. What made this so incredibly exciting is that the main character, the girl, finds out that her sister in the 1880s is going to become a victim of Jack the Ripper. And so it's like literally this race against time to solve who the guy is. Can she get her sister out of this situation? There's all these like complex external things happening. Like there's so much mystery to this. I couldn't put it down, and I think this book had the best ending of any of the other books in the series. It was just so satisfying. Like it made me happy. This is probably one of my favorite books of the whole year. So if you have not started the Timeless series yet, you are missing out. If you haven't gotten to this one yet, please pick it up. It is so good. Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This is the prequel story to the Hunger Games trilogy, and as you guys know, and it's Haymitch's story, and I think this book wins the award for the most unputdownable for me because I was up till 4 a.m. reading this, and I'm a mom. I don't get enough sleep as it is, and the fact that I just like stayed up reading it, what was I thinking? I don't know, but it was really good, and I needed to know, like I had to know. Basically what happened was once I got to the part where the games actually started, I couldn't stop reading, and that's what caused me to be up till 4 a.m. And I'm not gonna say anything about this book other than that when you read it, you will know why Haymitch is the way he is and why he drinks himself into oblivion during the Hunger Games trilogy, because like that guy, he's been through it. And I almost feel like after like reading that book and then going back and rewatching the Hunger Games trilogies, I feel like President Snow is almost like nice in compared to how he is in Sunrise on the Reaping. Like I feel like he's almost like nice to Katniss. So maybe that's why he got overtaken, because he just kind of lost his edge in his old age. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Maybe you have a different thought, but Escaping Pirates by Mary Meekum. This book is now one of my favorite Cinderella retellings of all time. It is a Cinderella retelling that happens on a pirate ship. There is a plot twist. It's so good. It just has characters that the villains are villains that you love to hate. They are the best villains because they're awful. They totally awful. Like I don't even know how the Cinderella characters survived, and like the other people on the boat like survived, like what they were going through, like put through by these villains. But at the same time, like the villains were like funny somehow. Like I don't know, like she literally made them like kind of funny in a way, and just the kind of villain like you love to hate. That's the only way to describe them. And the romance was fantastic. The banter in this book was amazing as always. She's so good at the banter. Love this book. I want to reread it because like I love Cinderella and I love this story, and it was just so good. Over Christmas time, I continued my favorite Christmas mystery series, and it's the Christmas River series. I think it might be called something different, but it takes place in this town called Christmas River. And I don't know, I'm on book like 5 or 6 or something like that. And I read one, which I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't unputdownable. It was still really, really good. It was so good. And I should have put it on this list, but I haven't looked, I don't have time to look it up right now. I was literally like, I was just gonna read the one Christmas River mystery, but it just made me feel so cozy, and I'm so attached to the characters at this point that I was like, I think I'm gonna read more. Even though like the next book took place in like the fall or something, it wasn't even Christmas time, I was like, I just need to read more Christmas River. And so Mischief in Christmas River was the one I read that was unputdownable. I don't know, it's like this author, her writing has always been so good, but for some reason it was like she upped it a notch as far as like the unputdownableness, like the way she wrote it, and she just kept ending like every chapter on a cliffhanger, and just I don't know, it was just hard to describe. Like I just wanted to keep reading, and I think I read it in like a day and a half or something. And then the next one actually did take place at Christmas time, and it was Malice in Christmas River, and it was the same thing. I was just like, I need to know. And I love being in this town. It's like a mystery. Like they're not all murder mysteries. That's the really great thing about it. It's like, it actually feels really believable as a series, because like there's series where like a murder happens every few weeks and you're like, this would never actually happen, or like all these people in this town would truly be traumatized if this really happened. And like this is like, it'd be like a burglary, or like something was vandalized, things like that were happening in the town that was like causing the mystery to happen. And it was still so good, and it gave you like the snowy, perfect Christmas vibes that you want at that time of year. So anyway, I love this series. The next one takes place in July, and I want to read it. I'm just waiting until the weather warms up so I can read the next one. But like, that's how much I love Christmas River, and I want to go back there. Okay, so this is on my unputdownable list. And while I loved the first 2 books, I can't say that I loved the last one so much. And when I talk about this series, I'm gonna preface it as the characters and the situation is extremely morally gray. So that is why I feel like even though I loved parts of it, I feel like I can't truly recommend it to a lot of the people that watch my channel, a lot of my booktube friends. I just feel like there's a few areas that are so blurry of the lines that I know like some of my friends are not gonna like it at all. So anyway, and this series is Once Upon a Broken Heart, The Ballad of Never After, and A Curse for True Love. So it's the same lady, Stephanie Garber, that wrote Caravel. And while Caravel was very controversial for a lot of people, I loved that series, and I know why it's controversial. And I loved it for her storytelling ability and her ability to just make it feel more like an experience versus just I'm reading a story. Like I felt like I was in that story, that just is like a whole nother level of author. Like she's really incredible. So I was reading it more for like, let me see if I can pick up some tips for how to make my writing better. And it was the same thing with this. Although I will say, compared to Caravel, this one is far more whimsical. It's not quite as like pushing the boundaries on like the magic and stuff. Well, I mean, I guess in some areas it kind of does, but not quite as bad as Caravel. It's the only way to describe it. So the romance was really, really good. I loved it. It is closed door. Well, okay, no, it's not Fade to Black. The whole premise of this book is like the guy cannot kiss the girl because if he kisses anybody, she'll die. So like there's no kissing or happening like that. But there was one scene where like he had to bandage her up and he was kind of like touching her and that was pushing it a little bit, some of the description of that. And I believe there's a scene in the last book that was kind of similar to that as well. So it's just like touching, but not kissing. So I don't know. I wasn't too bothered by it, but I know like a lot of my friends would be. So that's why I mention it. But it was completely unputdownable for me. I loved the fairy tale world. It was very whimsical, fairy tale, dreamy like. It was so much fun. I absolutely adored the first 2 books. Like I said, I didn't love the third one as much, but it was still a really, really great series. So I just wanted to talk about it. If you do read it, maybe, and you're an author, go into it like I could probably pick up some tips on how to like keep people reading, keeping people engaged, like how to tell a really great story. Not necessarily for like the wholesomeness of this entire tale is all I'll say. All right, now I'm gonna move on to books that were just my overall favorites. Maybe the whole book wasn't unputdownable, maybe it was just a portion of it, or maybe there was just something about the book that made me feel really great. So here we go. Rapunzel's Gambit by Mary Meekum. This is a Rapunzel retelling, and it's about a girl who her father offers her hand in an arranged marriage, and she refuses and fakes being kidnapped by a dragon when she really joins forces with the dragon and is like staying in this tower. So like that's kind of the tower part of it. And she's trying to save her kingdom from different things that like her father is doing. It's just a really good time. Like Mary Meekum's books are always such a good time, and I just enjoyed it for its banter. I love the characters. I love the dragon. Rapunzel is so spunky and funny. She's just so different from most fairy tale characters that you would read, and there's always a plot twist, and I absolutely loved it. It was so fun. The Sound of Light by Sarah Sundin. This is a World War II book, and I was so into this book. I mean, this was very close to being like unputdownable. I feel like maybe 75% of it was actually, so maybe this should have been on the unputdownable list. But this was about an American scientist who got accepted into this prestigious program in Denmark when the war started. At the same time, we're following this guy that's like a baron. He's like part of nobility in, I think it might be Denmark, or yeah, I think it's in Denmark. Anyway, he has to flee and disguise himself as like a regular guy and starts working in a shipyard. Well, he ends up staying in the same boarding house as this American scientist, and they kind of meet, and he's got to like have this whole facade that he's like unintelligent, like he can't really read, he can hardly speak, just to like throw off who he really is. And so he's got this secret identity that nobody knows. He's actually really smart. And there's the scientist girl, and they start to sort of like fall for each other. There's also espionage happening, like they're both involved in espionage and they don't realize like the other is doing it. And this is actually, it's not a Little Mermaid retelling, but there's a lot of nods to the Little Mermaid, and like they talk about that story a lot. And so it was just so good because very suspenseful. I was so into the romance. I absolutely loved it. I loved all the characters. It's a World War II book that is not sad. Like it's very suspenseful, but it's very like hopeful, and like, I don't know, things just get resolved well. So there wasn't a lot, it's not like a tearjerker World War II. So if you're like, I don't know about World War II books, like this one would be a good place to start because it was just great. Betraying Korth by Mary Meekum. So this is the book that actually comes before Escaping Pirates, the Cinderella retelling. And this is a Goose Girl retelling, and this just kind of turned the whole retelling on its head, where the girl that is betrothed to the prince is like sort of like the villain. Like, she's doing it to let me see if I get this right. So normally the tale, we get the perspective of the princess that is cursed to be a goose girl, but in this story we get the servant girl's perspective, and she's basically the villain, but also ends up being the hero in the story because the princess and the king are completely awful. And if she doesn't stop the marriage to Korth by marrying him herself, then a lot of bad things are going to happen. So again, the banter is great, the romance is great, the spunkiness of the characters, the plot twists, it's just, Mary Meekum's books just have it all. I love them. Across the Ages by Gabrielle Meyer. So this is actually the 4th book in the Timeless series, so this one comes before Every Hour Until Then. So this one is one of my favorites because I loved it, but I don't remember it being like unputdownable. Like, I feel like I read it fairly quickly, but it was like, I could go do other things kind of thing. But still a really wonderful read, and there were parts of it that were unputdownable. So I don't want you to think that it wasn't like great, you know, because it really was. And this one is so different because it's about a time crosser that doesn't know why she's a time crosser, because her mother didn't raise her. She was raised by her grandfather, and so she has like no guidance. All the other time crossers have guidance. They know what they're doing and why. She's like, why do I have 2 lives? Like, why do I wake up in the 1700s one day and the next day I wake up in the 1900s? And she ends up wanting to search for answers, trying to find her mother. So she jumps on board a pirate ship in the 1700s and like pretends to be a boy and like is a pirate. It's pretty crazy. It's a really great story. My Phony Valentine by Courtney Walsh. I officially got on the Courtney Walsh train this year, starting with this book, which I read around Valentine's Day. So if you're looking for a good Valentine's Day book and you haven't read it yet, this one is really great. It's about a girl that runs into a guy that plays hockey. He's like on a hockey team. And there's like this other annoying girl like bothering her, and just to kind of like pretend and like get rid of her, they're like in line together, and she's like, this is my boyfriend. And then he's like, all right, let's go along with it. And then they decide to fake date because it will like help his hockey image kind of thing. So it's fake dating. It was really lovely. It just, the romantic energy in this one is just really high as well. And it made me feel so happy reading it the whole way through that I just absolutely loved it. I also read My Lucky Charm, and this one was good. I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorites of the year, but it was still really good. However, My Merry Mistake is the 3rd one in this series. And this was a buddy read I did with Lucy from the Lucy Chronicles and Celestria. And that made it really fun to read as well. But I love this story because I thought Courtney Walsh did an absolutely phenomenal job with this book and this character, because in the other books, this character was really intense and borderline unlikable. And she really let us get inside her head to see why she was the way she was, like pick her apart. The male protagonist was wonderful. Love him so much. There was just a lot of depth, backstory going on with both characters. It was just really great. It was a really good time. The Bellwoods Game by Celia Crampian. This book reminds me of one of the Disney Channel original movies that they used to make way back when. It was just like the perfect little Halloween movie. It's a middle grade, and it's not actually a movie. The perfect little Halloween book, because it had just the right amount of spooky, not too scary. It's not the kind of book that would give you nightmares, but it was suspenseful, and it was just, I don't know, it just kind of put you in the Halloween mood kind of thing. But it's about this town that has this mysterious bell in the forest. And every Halloween, 3 kids are chosen. They're like about 6th grade or 7th grade, something like that. 3 kids are chosen to play this game, and it's only, they can only be like this age, like when they play it for whatever reason. And the 3 kids are like on a race through the forest to find the bell because it's kind of hidden, and one of them has to ring it before Halloween night is over. Otherwise, there's like this evil ghost or evil spirit or something that's gonna basically like terrorize the town for a whole year if they don't ring the bell. And then the next year they can try again to get rid of it if that happens, kind of thing. So apparently one year it did happen, like way back when like the children's parents were kids. And there was one year that a girl actually died during the game. And so there's kind of like this mystery surrounding like, is the girl that died actually like the evil spirit, or is it something else, kind of thing. So there's like all these like ghosty things. But like I said, it's not too scary. I felt like it had a lot of good messages in it, and the characters actually had a lot of depth. They had a lot of things they were working through, a lot of things that were going on. I loved it. I think they should make it into a movie, and honestly, I would probably reread it like sometime at Halloween again, because it's just, I don't know, it was just a great book. Song of Winds by Deb Grace White. This is an East of the Sun, West of the Moon retelling. And so far, of all the East of the Sun, West of the Moon retellings I've read, which I think is just 2 right now, this one's my favorite, because I feel like the other one I read was just a little borderline creepy for different reasons, and maybe some people wouldn't like it, but there was nothing creepy about this one at all, and I feel like it really kept with the tale, and it just was really good. It's basically a marriage of convenience, where this girl, she got bartered by her dad like in a gambling match. Like he basically lost her hand in marriage. He was basically like, if I win, or he was like, if I win, I get the money. If I lose, you can just have my daughter. So he ended up losing, of course, and this man that won her, like, turns out he's like got some secrets to him, and he's kind of like under this enchantment, and he's somebody really interesting, so you should just read it and find out. The Christmas Letters by Jenny Proctor. This book is a Christmas novel that takes place in Charleston, South Carolina, and I actually read it in July, so kind of for Christmas in July. It was the perfect Christmas in July book, because in Charleston in December it's actually still quite warm. So I don't know, it was just great, and I love the You've Got Mail vibes. It's about this girl that starts writing letters to a boy whose letter got lost like many years ago, but now he's all grown up, and it turns out she actually knows who he is, and he knows her, and it's just a really great feel-good Christmas novel, or really a novel for any time of the year. The Midnight Prince by Angie Grigoly-Eunice. This is a Cinderella retelling that takes place in the world of the Fae, and what happened is there's this man that is supposed to marry a girl, but then like the night of he was gonna propose, she like fled and like sort of betrayed him in this, I guess. At the same time, this girl remembers something completely different, where she was told to leave because he was just like using her, he didn't love her. She was told something completely different. They meet up several years later and find out that their memories of this same event are completely different, and maybe somebody magically tampered with their memory. So yeah, it's just really, really great. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of suspense trying to figure out this mystery of what really happened. And there's just a really beautiful, happy, full circle, meaningful ending that happens. That's all I'll say, because I don't want to ruin it, but it was really great. Okay, last but not least, Faking Christmas by Cindy Steele. I read this as a buddy read with Alma, which just made it so much more lovely, so much more wonderful. I love Alma so much. And Cindy Steele just does rom-com the best, I think. I think she's my favorite rom-com author right now. And Courtney Walsh is up there really, really high. So, you know, it's kind of a hard contest there, but Sydney Steele just knocks it out of the park, book after book. I don't know how she does it. This one is about two teachers that work in the same school, and we're following the main character. She does not like the guy at all, the guy teacher, because he's always like teasing her and just being really, really annoying. Well, her family is going to be vacationing in Vermont this year for Christmas, and her family decides to invite her ex-boyfriend to the trip to try to like get them back together, even though she wants nothing to do with him. Like, she's the one that broke up with him, and he was like a really bad guy, so she doesn't want anything to do with him. So then she finds out that the teacher guy that she's always annoyed with, it's actually like his family's resort. So he's like there, and out of desperation, they decide to fake date. And it's really lovely. I mean, there's so much going on in her stories. There's so much character backstory, so much depth. The banter is always top notch. And of course, the romantic energy. Just, I love the flirtatiousness that the characters have, and she just really captures what it feels like to fall in love. And it was just fantastic. It was a great way to end the year. Whew, that was a lot of books. I had a wonderful reading year, and I hope that maybe you saw something on this list that caught your eye. If you did, let me know. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.